everyone, welcome back to another episode of Gen Z and the 90s, the show where I talk about movies only millennials can love. In this episode, I am reviewing the most 90s movie to ever 90, and that is 1993's Airborne. This movie has everything the 90s has to offer: rollerblading, surfing, teen romance, Seth Green, hockey, 90s fashion. It's the most extreme with a capital X. The plot is your cliche fish out of water story. Mitchell, a surfer bro from California, has to move to Cincinnati. Avery, why are you being so harsh on Cincinnati? Well, I'm allowed to crap on Cincinnati because that's where I'm from. I don't live in the city, but I live close enough to the city, and I've been so many times that I'm kind of considered a Cincinnatian. And in Cincinnatian fashion, I'm gonna burst your bubble and say that most of these scenes weren't even filmed in Cincinnati. See, to get into Cincinnati, you have to cross the Ohio River to get into Newport, Kentucky, and then from there, you cross back into Ohio to get to Cincinnati. I don't know why it's set up like that either, but it just is. So Newport, Kentucky and Cincinnati are just kind of blended into the same area. And I gotta say, even though this movie is, spoiler alert, hilariously bad, it's still pretty cool watching this movie and going, hey, I've been there. Anyway, you get my point. I'm from where I shot this movie. Now let's get on with the review. First, we get an opening montage of our surfer bruh 90s middle part main character, Mitchell, played by Shane McDermott, who, oddly enough, like Seth Green, also starred in a show with Sarah Michelle Gellar. Forget the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, I want 6 degrees of Sarah Michelle Gellar. Anyway, this opening montage is not just a surfing montage. It's a rollerblading montage. Mitchell gets home to greet his golden retriever. Could this movie get any more 90s? His parents are all like, we're going to Australia for 6 months. And Mitchell is all like, that's great, bruh. And then his parents are all like, oh no, not you. You're going to Cincinnati. Yeah, that's an understandable reaction. So Mitchell gets off the plane and wait, we're already in Ohio? We were in California for not even 10 minutes. So Mitchell greets his family. Oh no, oh no. Sorry. Mitchell greets Who dressed him like that? I want to talk. Who told him to grow his hair out like that? Because I also want to talk to them. Sorry, I was so distracted by that I forgot to mention that Mitchell's aunt is played by the same woman who is in Ferris Bueller, and she basically plays the same character here. So then Wiley, the dude Seth Green is playing, takes Mitchell to school. Then we get the whole, I'm getting trampled during a class change. I thought that movie trope was only reserved for high school freshmen. Did classes never change in California? So Mitchell runs into the school bully, and Wiley is all like, yo, that was Snake, man, he's dangerous and stuff. So Wiley takes Mitchell to class, and everyone stares him down, and he throws up a peace sign. I'm not kidding when I say this kid is every California surfer bro stereotype just rolled into one. Then we get Jack Black. That's right, Jack Black is in this movie. Pre-School of Rock, pre-Neverending Story 3, pre-everything, because this is only his second ever movie role. And he plays basically Jack Black, because he Jack Blacks every scene he's in, and I love it. So Mitchell sits down, and this one girl does the classic, I dropped this, can you pick this up for me? And Mitchell does, and the girl's ex-boyfriend probably got held back like 4 times because there's no way this guy is a high schooler. Imagines himself throwing Mitchell out the window. Then the dude's ex-girlfriend imagines Mitchell shirtless, and I guess the other girls in the room are also having the same daydream. And these imagination daydream scenes never come back. Then we get introduction speeches, which is just an excuse to develop the characters further without actually showing their traits. Also, this is in the middle of the school year, then why are they having introduction speeches? We get this big introduction of this overachiever girl who has a 3.8 GPA and stuff, and she never comes back into the movie. So why did we focus on her so much? To sum up these speeches, Snake likes knives and violence. This dude can't speak, but was called up to speak anyway. This girl's a feminist. This guy's a loser. This girl's a flirt. Jack Black likes to sleep at Nintendo. The dude that can't speak is called back up for some reason. He still can't speak. Stop calling him up. Wiley is a try-hard and he declares his love for hockey, and Mitchell declares that he doesn't know what he wants to do in life as long as he lives near the beach and he doesn't have to wear a tie. Then Mitchell goes into his speech about surfing, and everyone is like, "That's disgusting! What's wrong with you?" Then Jack Black gets up there and roasts Mitchell, and he hams it up. Then Mitchell says something, I don't even know what he was trying to say.
Oh, the old hiney hairs are wound a little too tight on that one, eh, dude?
About Jack Black, and the adult high schooler is all like, "What did you just say?" And then he goes up for his speech. Then the adult high schooler rags on surfing and tells Mitchell to try a real sport. Hockey. Then he's all like, "We're playing against the preps. We have never beaten the preps. And I'm not graduating until May until we've beaten the preps." Dude, you should have graduated like 4 years ago. Then Jack Black yeets Seth Green and threatens to beat up Mitchell. But then Mitchell is all like, "Chill, bruh. I'm not lying."
We were just chatting, chill, bro.
Coincidentally, 2 hockey players can't play in the game, so they get Snake and Wiley to play. Seth Green gets yeeted, and Mitchell is all like, "Wiley, you're a hockey man." And then Wiley's all like, "Hockey Nintendo." Classic mix-up. Mitchell then meets another girl sitting behind him, and she's not like other girls. She wears a hat. Mitchell reveals to this girl that he used to have a dark past. He used to be fight man, but now he's peace man. And this entire speech is just him going on and on and on about the ocean and waves. He never shuts up about the ocean. Does this dude talk about anything else? Then she tells him that her name is Nikki. Seth Green gets yeeted again, and he gets hurt pretty bad, so then Mitchell has to take over for him. Mitchell then shoots the puck into the wrong net and costs him the game. Jack Blacks, and then Mitchell gets knocked out. Then he wakes up and imagines Wiley as his dog? This kind of foreshadows what happens to him in Buffy. The next day, Mitchell and Wiley both get tormented. Mitchell's chair breaks. They put goo on Wiley's locker. Jack Black twirls into a bathroom and they steal Mitchell's clothes. Wiley gets stuck to his locker. Did they use Gorilla Glue or something? They sabotage Wiley's driver's test. They dump water on Mitchell, and then they manage to somehow get sand in Mitchell's locker. I'm not even gonna ask. Mitchell's pretty fed up, so he decides to sit on the floor. But then his aunt thinks he's having an overdose. Then she tells him that his parents sent him a package, and this package is rollerblades. I bet you forgot this was a rollerblading movie. Mitchell and Nikki then go to a place called the I don't know. Conservatory. This scene was only made for trailer shots, so next. Mitchell and Nikki then agree to go on a double date. Then we get an extreme montage. Next. Then we get Mitchell surfing in his bedroom. Next. I'm not saying these scenes aren't fun to watch. There's no point in describing them. Then Wiley is seen taking a shower, which disproves my theory that this was a wig the entire time. Also, there's something written on the wall, but I can't make out what it says. Did Seth Green write something but then forget to wipe it off when they started rolling? And if you thought this movie couldn't 90s any further, we get a clothing montage set to the song I'm Too Sexy.
I'm too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my shirt. So sexy it hurts. And I'm too sexy for Milan. Too sexy for Milan, New York and Japan.
Anyway, so after that, they go on their double date. Mitchell is going with Nikki, and Wiley is going with the lesbian from the Brady Bunch movie. So they go on their date at what I'm pretty sure is Newport on the Levee. Mitchell talks about surfing because what else would he be talking about? Mitchell and Nikki kiss the 90s R&B soundtrack by the nasty, disgusting, disease-infested Ohio River. Meanwhile, Riley tries to make a move, but Gloria gives him COVID instead. So then they go to a restaurant that isn't Skyline. Okay, hang on. You have a movie taken place in Cincinnati. and your characters never eat a cheese coney one time? Not even a three-way? Yeah, I'm not buying it. These guys start a fight at the diner and Gloria gets harassed. Seth Green gets yeeted again. Mitchell is not doing anything because instead he's just all like, "World peace, bruh." And as the guy starts harassing Nikki, the grown man passing as a high school student walks in and he's all like, "Stay away from my sister."
What do you say we all sit down, talk about this over a basket of fries or something?
Shut up. So adult passing as a high school student threatens to beat up Mitchell. And Mitchell is all like, "I'm not gonna fight you, bruh. No one in this town matters to me. No one." So, obviously this offends pretty much everyone in the room. And Nikki runs away and Wiley does some hair flips. But things weren't so bad because Willow Rosenberg now has competition. Now Mitchell has dug himself in a pretty deep hole. Then Mitchell ponders by the Ohio River. Ew, don't touch it. Then he ponders some more. And he dreams about ocean stock footage. Then Mitchell feels the need to wake up Wiley and tell him about his dream. We've already had enough wave talk in this movie. Skip. So now we get to more rollerblading, and Seth Green yeets himself. Apparently everyone in this school has a pair of rollerblades because now Mitchell's in a game of rollerblade hockey with all the characters that he has conflict with. Gloria starts flirting with Wiley, and this yeets Seth Green. This is not a subtle movie. Some guy on the other team tackles Mitchell, and Mitchell still refuses to fight. I gotta give it to him. He's grounded. Instead, Mitchell rides up and pantses the guy. And we get this reaction from Jack Black. Then Nikki yeets Seth Green. So all of the adult high schoolers' friends have now converted over to Mitchell's side. They show up to Wiley's house, and Wiley's mom is all like, "Look at all these righteous dudes." They apologize to Mitchell for how they've been treating him. I guess Wiley doesn't get an apology. Hashtag justice for Wiley. So it turns out they've all been challenged to a rollerblade race. And where is this rollerblade race? It's on Devil's Backbone. And you know it's bad because the music gets all serious.
Devil's Backbone.
Then they rollerblade on Devil's Backbone. And that's the rest of the movie. No, seriously. The last 20 minutes of this movie is just them rollerblading. And I wouldn't want it to end any other way. And a bunch of people get yeeted, yes, including Seth Green. We see a bunch of shots in Cincinnati. We see a bunch of rollerblading tricks. They win the race. Seth Green gets yeeted for the final time. And rollerblading has now created world peace. The end. And that was Airborne. You know what? Is it good by movie making standpoints? Absolutely not. But is it one of the best bad movies you will ever watch? Absolutely. This is one of those movies you can watch with a group of friends and just laugh for like an hour. I know this because this is a movie my dad and I watch together and laugh at. And you know what? Part of that is because everyone here is clearly having the time of their lives. Everyone in this movie is treating this rollerblading surf 90s movie like it's the pinnacle of their career, especially Jack Black. My dad and I actually enjoy this movie so much, I actually tweeted both Seth Green and Jack Black requesting a signed copy of the movie. They didn't tweet me back. People from Cincinnati will actually appreciate this movie too, and people from Cincinnati actually have appreciated this movie. Now, to rank this movie on my Gen Z in the 90s list, I'd have to rank this as number 1. Because this is the only one. Because April Fools! That's right, I tricked you guys with the slyest trick up my sleeve. Don't worry, I'll return back to my normal 80s content after this video gets uploaded. I mentioned before that my dad and I are actually like really big fans of this movie, and when I first watched this movie, I realized I had to make a video about it someday. However, the 1993 release made it kind of impossible. But I used this special April Fool's Day as an opportunity to finally introduce my viewers to Airborne. Because this movie needs to be seen to believe. Now remember, something about world peace, and this movie taught me absolutely nothing.